listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Hello, hello.
How you doing, everybody?
Look, in real life together. It's like amazing. And also, look.
Ooh, you know what this means?
This is going to be a happy hour edition of the Inclusive AF podcast.
Live from
Vegas, baby.
what?
When was the last time you had a Fat Tuesday drink?
A year ago.
Here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, when I was 22.
Oh,
No, pretty
yeah.
sure I haven't had one of these.
I think I really haven't had one of these. If I would have had one, it would have been a year ago.
Yeah.
It has been like, that was like 20
Yeah.
or 21.
At least
in
21,
New
because she would
Orleans.
not have been drinking prior
That's right.
to being the age appropriate.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. Just so, and in case our parents are listening, we gotta be clear. Okay, so Jackye, we're in Vegas for HR Tech.
Yes.
Do you know what I want to talk about?
What?
I would like to talk about bias at conferences.
You know what? That's a good one.
Yeah. So, I think the first piece that I would start off with is looking around. We are in HR. We know HR is heavily dominated by women.
That's right.
And yet most of the folks here are men. It
is so weird. Like, I mean, like, I think the stats are like 82% of people in HR are women. Literally, I think the men outnumber the women here, like
100%.
3 to 1.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Maybe even 4 to 1.
Maybe even 5 to 1.
Maybe 19 to 1.
Is it because they send all the men thinking that the HR ladies will be like excited and go to their booth?
I hope that's not why.
All I know, if you remember last year, we went to a party and I found myself standing and I felt very short and there were all that's tall men.
Yeah,
I don't remember the software and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, but I also, it was weird.
But it also makes you think about the products that you're purchasing. Like we talk about being inclusive and adding other opinions. And if you're an HR tech company building HR tech products and yet you don't have majority of women, there might be something to that.
Well, like I had a client that was selling to, it was actually to the Houston Police Department, and the Houston Police Department, like the higher ups are, I think it was like 10 of the people out of the 10 people, it was like 8 of them were people of color. Yet they sent all white men to sell to the city or to the police force in the city. And they were like asking like, why would we not, why can't we just send this group? And it was like, if you're trying to actually like build a relationship or not that you have to have someone and you don't want to have one person there just to be the token, whatever.
Right.
But it's also wouldn't you bring people that can relate to and can maybe have similar understanding of what could this tool be used for in this, in this environment, whatever it might be.
Right.
And so that's the other part that I think about when I'm walking from booth to booth, and it is a lot of men that I am like, okay, well, how, like, do they really get HR or are they just salespeople?
I think it's another mansplaining situation too, because if you think about it, we don't have a lot of women founders of HR tech products, even though majority of people would be women. So is it like, oh, here's a problem that you need help fixing and I can help you fix it?
Right.
When is it a problem?
Right. I don't know.
Thinking about so far, because we haven't gotten into all of the sessions. We just started it. We only had 2 sessions so far, or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And mine that I went to was about international, making the transition easier to hire people internationally. That's what I saw. But still, it's like, I haven't seen the latest, but it'll be interesting to see what the latest trend is in HR tech for this year. I don't know what the theme is so far. But I know that it is interesting that there are a lot of men, and you see a lot of men in sales, and it just shows. How do you know if you haven't been in HR, or you're not in HR, and don't have people that are referring you that are of a like gender, or looking at your team? Because there's lots
Right.
of places where you might not see anybody that looks like you.
Of course, of course. I also, the reason why I like this conference a lot is because of the Pitch Fest. So, our friend George runs the Pitch Fest stage, which is basically like the very small startups that are coming to introduce themselves and kind of introduce their product. They have some judges. So I know Torin is a judge this year, and usually Tim Sackett is also a judge. I don't know who else is judging this year. But it's great because you get to see some really cool products, and I would almost say kind of even like these could be pre-seed companies, so they are tiny, maybe it's a one-person show,
Yes.
and so they get a few minutes to pitch, but you get to see some cool stuff. And I think the last year they did a really good job of highlighting some DEI tools, but I think with the conversation around AI, I'm curious to see what's going to be on the pitch stage this year.
I am really curious on how people are trying to do the spin, and because most all products, it's almost like, oh, this is a computer software. And like you just expect that there's going to be an element of AI.
Yeah.
And like, I hope that they ask questions around how are you mitigating bias around AI? Who is doing what is your recommendation for people who are founding a company to make sure that the AI that they're using does have a little bit of shields in place.
Yes.
Some kind of protection in place.
I think that is a conversation that I feel like most folks are having or are thinking about, but there are still, I think, some things that just are not right. They're not.
Absolutely not.
And it scares me because I mean, I'm also, I guess I'm probably different than most folks because I'm like, I don't care what AI asks me. I'll give them any information because I feel like, let's be clear, my information's out. I think we have to just understand that all of our information is out there somewhere.
That's right.
And so I think that is something that I don't worry so much about. I worry more about just the bias that comes out of like what it actually delivers, whatever that product is, what it delivers to you as the output. And I know, you and I both have done tests with ChatGPT and just to see what they'll do. And I think it's getting better. But some of the other ones that, Microsoft, has theirs, and there's a couple other companies that are using different ones. I was introduced to another one that is a Slack bot that basically does performance coaching for a manager or helps them with what to say performance management wise. And I was like, theoretically great idea, but
based on what, Slack?
Yeah, oh, this is what the coaching issue that I have. So it's fascinating, but it's still early. So I'm, he's actually a friend of ours. So want to wish him the best. But it is like how are they mitigating bias in that environment and making sure that it's not biased? But yeah, excited to see what is out there, what is being shown.
But I feel like when you're looking at the bias within like this particular conference, one of the things that's really interesting is that on our badge, I will show you my badge, which I think is a little hilarious. Ooh.
We have the camera on a swivel chair.
Look, it says like basic on it. I wonder if anybody's going to be mean to me because I have this basic.
And by anyone, she means me making.
Oh, I knew that you were going to be mean. I didn't know. It's like,
I think it's funny.
But it also says VP of Talent Acquisition and DEIB.
Mine says Media All Access because I am on the Inclusive AF podcast.
But I am too. What?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I think you owe me.
Well, you guys are also in a booth.
Oh.
So I think that maybe that changes things a little bit for you. That you can't be media. Yeah.
Hi, this is Stacey Harris.
And this is Terry Zipper, and we're the host of the two podcasts under the HR Huddle.
On Spilling the Tea on HR Tech, we uncover the latest trends, truths, and challenges from Sapient Insight Group's groundbreaking research and our analyst insights, serving up everything you need to know about HR tech with no sugarcoating.
And on HR, we have a problem. We tackle the toughest workplace challenges head on, offering you expert advice and actionable solutions to help HR leaders thrive in today's fast changing world. Whether you want the scoop on tech or tools to solve people problems, we've got you covered.
Take a listen and subscribe. If you want to become part of our community, we'd love to see you.
Okay, so what are you thinking about with the presidential race right now? How are you feeling?
I'm really excited. Like, I feel like I'm really hopeful. I feel like I'm really seeing things going in a different direction. Like, overall, it was really negative. It felt really bad, like for a while there, and it just wasn't sure. But now I feel really positive that they're gonna be a more fair shot, like a more of a, I guess maybe I mean a chance.
Yep.
Before it seemed like there wasn't going to be a chance and wasn't
No,
sure.
no.
But now with the presidential race with Kamala, I am a Kamala supporter, and I think that it adds some fun things to watch.
Absolutely.
How are you feeling?
It's interesting because I've actually been doing a lot of research because I have, as you know, some family members that are maybe on the other side of the fence on who I will be voting for. And so I was like, I want to understand, like, what has Kamala actually done? What are the particular things that she's helped to push? She was front and center on a lot of the work around the anti-lynching legislation that she signed into law. She's actually been the person that had to make the tie-breaking vote for a lot of different legislation. And it's just been fascinating to start to dig in on some of that stuff. And then when you look at the other candidate, it's like, so he helped rich people.
Right. Over and over and over and over.
Over and over and over again. Yeah. In every way possible, whether it's a corporation, whatever it might be. And so it's still that fascinating, like, concept of how do people that I consider smart, how do they not see that this person is not actually helping anyone,
Right.
or for anyone except for themselves?
Right.
That's what I get so, I don't want to say worked up at this point because it's not worked up, but just like confused by.
I think that it's easy to be confused if you are in a family or have been in a household where, I would say, like, middle class working family, watching people do those things where it's like we want to help others when we can, and especially in your background, knowing like your religious background, like in the way that you were raised, and helping other people, where like that's just second nature.
Right.
And then you look over at the candidates' history, like majority of their businesses, like the early start came from their own family, nothing to help largely outside, like people who've given the money to support has been internal from their family and did not help other people in building like businesses and equity. So it's like, oh, that's what you think you're supposed to do.
Right.
And so I think that part is really interesting. But I can understand, like, from if you're just looking at money, like, oh, this could give me the best chance of saving money or whatever. If you don't care about everybody else. And some people just that they don't put that in the front of their minds of what's going to be important.
Yes, and I think like with some of the, the infrastructure bill, some of the other things that Kamala, I absolutely was supportive of, and helping to, again, break the tie votes, all of these things for the different legislation. She was front and center to not just say, hey, let's help the folks that don't need more money. Let's spread the wealth and look at how can we create new jobs? How can we create new industries that we haven't had before? And, I think that's the other piece that is very much front of mind for me is infrastructure and how we actually continue. Like, I was on vacation the last 2 weeks, as you know, and driving around like the northeastern United States, and we commented multiple times about like the roads are just horrible. And I think part of it is obviously with the winters coming, like I think it's just always hard to maintain roads in cold climates. But it was one of those things like, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's just basic infrastructure, how to get from point A to point B. Are there other methods of transportation? Are there other things that people can do? And I just feel like she's thinking about that stuff and is also focused on how do we actually move this forward. So yeah, so again, still voting for Kamala to summarize.
But
No
nervous.
change.
I mean, I think it's like we see this in every election where it's like everybody has to vote, make sure that you're getting those things, like put up your signs and all of that. And so it'll be down to the wire. It seems like things keep going back and forth
Yeah,
on what candidate is going to be
the
but
one.
but yeah, the one we won't know.
Yeah,
But I just I don't feel so much doom and gloom. Like instead of like,
100%.
there's a little bit of hope scrolling
Yeah.
instead of doomsday
I
scrolling.
love that saying. I love that expression. The hope scrolling is huge. And I think it's one that all of us need right now. Like, I
Yes.
think it was like, to your point, like when Biden was still in the race, it was like, okay, yeah, we're not going to win. So,
We're doomed.
But wow, like, how are we
what
gonna
are we
get
gonna
through
do?
this?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to move to another country.
Mhm.
And because of Elon Musk, it won't be Mars.
No,
Like I was gonna have to I can't
Yeah.
move to space.
no.
I will tell you fun fact. I
Yeah.
met a woman, Anne Calloway, at the airport. Anne
Okay.
Calloway was the singer of The Nanny
Okay.
for the song with Fran Drescher. The
Okay.
TV show.
Yeah.
Wrote a song for Kamala Harris, sung to The Nanny. So we'll put it in the show notes. You have to look it up on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
It is so cute.
Okay. I love it.
So again,
Well,
if you're doing some hope scrolling, you have to
yeah.
add that in there.
Okay. And did you see Kristen Chenoweth?
No.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
She's like stage actress, has been in a bunch of different shows. Well, she did Popular from
Yes.
Wicked, right?
Yes.
But it's Kamala.
The fact that you're
Choosing
singing,
Kamala.
that makes me so happy that you
I
just
know.
sang that.
Look at me. I'm a singer. Watch out. Now we're gonna do karaoke tonight in Vegas, people. If I drink the rest of this, we'll be on a stage somewhere singing songs.
That's right.
We have to pick a good song to do a duet, though.
Islands in the Stream, I think.
No. Like, it has to be a girl. God, I was just gonna say something. Girl on girl. It has to be.
How much have you had? Wow, that's
It has to
not
be a
even
song with two women.
that.
We could do
Or
The Boy's Mine.
we can do that.
Monica and Brandy. We could do
That's right. We can sing it to John Baldino. We can do that.
Yes,
That might
that
be
will work. Yes. But what's the other Dolly Parton and someone else did another duet, and it was you were saying Islands in the Stream, so that's what I was
Did you
thinking
think
about
about
it. Yeah. It's a Dolly and Cher or someone. I can't remember who the other person is. Oh no, it's Reba.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
You do.
Oh.
I just can't think. As per usual, I can't remember the name of it because I have the memory of it now. We'll find it and should put that in the show notes too. It's Reba and Dolly. Does He Love You?
Oh, we're not singing that until we get some voice lessons.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I need some help.
Yes. I'm not
And some
saying we're
bourbon.
gonna do like,
No.
we're not gonna be doing like Celine Dion. No.
But next year,
Next year, be ready, folks. If you come to HR Tech, you might
we
hear us.
will be ready.
Do a little-
Hopefully, we'll celebrate.
Do you want to be
our-
Dolly or Reba?
I think Reba, just so I can pretend to have that accent. I'll work on it while I'm doing
Okay.
that.
And I'll get a push-up bra.
That's right. And a wig.
No, wait.
What else has been going on? We haven't sat down. I know that all of our listeners know that we had some spaces because of our jobs and all of the things and life happening. Now we're getting into the fall season and it's
Yeah.
conference season, which means we have a lot of different things, but I'm glad that we're together.
Yeah.
What else do you see coming up this fall or within this quarter as we get close to finishing out the year? Can you believe it's almost October?
So, I think we're getting into that place of like end of year review process. We did ours over the summer. So we're just going to do kind of a calibration or a touch point for end of year. I don't like doing reviews at the end of the year because I just feel like it puts too much pressure on people around the holidays.
Yeah.
And so I like doing it in summer,
Right.
so people can't go on vacation. No, I want people to go on vacation, to be clear. But that's one thing. I think the other piece is looking at DEI, like we're going into October, so it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's right.
So we're doing some stuff at work
Right
for
now,
that.
Hispanic Heritage. Month.
Hispanic Heritage Month right now. I think, you know, there's just some good stuff coming that I'm hopeful with everything going on politically that we can keep moving forward and keep things moving in the right direction. Because I think if Kamala is elected, we'll start talking about some of the things that we were talking about when Obama was in office,
Mhm.
of like the Family Leave Act and some of these things that kind of went by the wayside and were thrown out the window. I shouldn't say fell by the wayside, went out the window completely when Trump was elected.
Right.
Where it literally just, that stuff shut down. And so I'm hopeful that if she wins, that we'll be able to get some of those things back on track. Biden's been moving it, but I think, you know, to actually get it all the way through signed into law, that we have paid leave
Right.
for birthing parents. And we have, you know, different things like that.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a time when we said, oh, don't talk about politics at work. But
Mm.
now politics affect work.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
This actually really did come up. Do you think that you should have like a dedicated channel to talk about politics?
No.
Do you think in a global environment where you have folks that are on both sides of the Russian and Ukrainian war, on your team, where you have people that are in Gaza right now, that you should have a political?
No.
Okay. Is there any world where you would go, you know, at work, we should have a political channel where people can talk about politics?
No. But I think you need to talk as a representative of people or HR
Yes.
about whatever stance or whatever your organization says. That needs to be very clear. You need to have your policies or various things, and that we're here to make a business, we're here to make widgets, that's what we're focused on. You have some conversations, be respectful of differences of opinions. Like, you're not going to control everything that people say.
100%. My concern, so again, this came up, and my concern is there are a lot of emotions from folks on either side of not just US politics, global politics, but I think there's also I am not going to tell you what you need to believe.
That's right.
I will say, as an organization, this is what we support. We support progressive things. We support human rights. We support, whatever it might be. And I think that's the message that I always want to get across, not the, hey, let's go talk about politics that will just devolve.
We're bringing up something that is actually more of a distraction. And so I always talk about, when we look at DEIB, it's disruption of fixed thinking and a fixed mindset.
Right.
But it's not a distraction to the point we're not able to get our work done. And so having a place like that, it's like, oh, that would be like if I opened up a Valentino channel, Slack channel at work. I would just be talking about it all day.
Yes.
I would invite other people and be like, look at my shoes, look at my purse, look at my hair. I'm just doing anything. And it has nothing to do
with
what we're working on. And so it's one of those things, like, if you want to talk about things offline in your own personal time, that's fine. Just as much as we don't have a marriage advice channel at work.
Some days I feel like I should.
Sometimes I feel like I owe a copay to Slack. I'm like, who am I talking to?
Yeah. What's happening now?
It's different than, oh, look at my kid's first day of school picture, or my cat learned a new trick. That's different. Those are short and things. But you do have to have those policies in place, because, like I said, it does affect work. When it's like, either we're going to have a DEIB office if this person becomes president, and if we're not, if it's this, we're going to have, organizations that have sponsorship in the United States, especially if it's like you work for public radio or public television. Depending on who's president, says what you'll be able to produce.
Absolutely.
And who you're able to hire And even for our regular media, depending on who becomes president, we'll say if organizations can partner, like you have your NBCs and your Paramounts and your
Right.
Peacocks and whatever, what kind of conglomerates are we putting together? A lot of that is based on that. And so you have to have a place. We're tracking how it's going to affect our industry, and we will make sure and keep you abreast of anything that will affect you at work. We invite you to do research on your own time and
Yeah.
formulate your own opinions.
And I think that's the piece that I am very much, and I know you've heard me say this, I've said this many times on podcasts, I'm not impacting, it's not my job to impact someone's beliefs. It's my job to impact how they behave, the policies that they're following, whether they're living the values of the organization, all of these things. And I think that's the focus that everyone needs to have is, yes, and here, I'm not naive enough to think that the conversations aren't happening
Right.
between team members or whatever, or, in specific situations, but for the company to go, here, let me open up a channel to do that, that just seems like a very, very
No.
bad idea.
It's a bad idea for a couple of reasons. Like mainly it's like if you don't have anybody fully monitoring that has a background in psychology or adjudication or any of those things,
Global
then it's
political, historical,
political affairs, global economic, like war trauma,
yeah,
then probably not.
probably not.
There's nobody to be able to do those things. And, I do think it's fair to be like, let's have a moment. I like healing circles when things happen after you need to have a healing, whoever gets elected,
Yeah.
still need a healing circle because we're going through a lot.
Right.
Right. So it's like, but those things where it's like, you're allowed to say something. We're not offering opinions. Nobody's offering any judgment or counseling,
Right.
just a space to feel heard.
Right.
Are you looking for a podcast that talks about humanity as well as human resources? Listen to the Reciprocity with AG podcast, where leaders in workforce and human resources talk more about themselves, how they reciprocate to others, and how they have received unbelievable advice for some of their mentors and people they've worked with.
And you put parameters around it where you can do things like that. But I just don't think that it's safe. It's a safe place. And you're opening problems. Like, don't start none, won't be none. You're
Yes.
opening places where there wasn't a problem.
shouldn't
All of a
be.
sudden
Yeah.
now there is.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. What else? Those are that's one of the big ones. I'm trying to think like what else has come up recently.
We were talking about, and I've
Yeah.
said this every year forever, about if you think that there are people that you need to promote out of your business, promote to guest, like we were talking about at Target.
Yeah, at
You've
Target,
been
it was promoting them to guests.
promoting
Yeah.
to guest as instead of an employee, please do it before Halloween.
Oh my God, thank you.
We say it every
Every year.
year. The reason being, and I know if you're not in HR, maybe this doesn't make sense. The reason being, after Halloween, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. It does something to us psychologically. People are getting ready for the holidays and it's supposed to be a certain time, or it's really stressful for a lot of people. And as a whole organization can empathize, again, to the point of like distraction, that's hard to get back. You will feel horrible. Your organization will feel horrible if anybody that you have to let go after
100%.
Halloween, and you will not recapture that until and they'll feel it at Christmas.
Yep.
And then you have New Year's, and then you've done your own resolutions. It takes until March for your whole organization to heal
Yep.
from a layoff
Yes.
after Halloween. If you do it before Halloween, people feel bad. You have Halloween, and then it's like we're starting fresh in the beginning of the next quarter, and people can feel like there's enough time for healing. And then we see the jobs that get posted at the beginning of the year, and people are getting
Right.
into transition. But please don't do it after. Like, if you don't do it now, you either have to wait, and it's going to
Until
cost your
January.
organization more money.
Yeah.
But please, if you think, and you've already written on a PIP right now, like, just put your packages together.
Yeah.
And let it happen.
Amen. This has been kind of a rule that I've asked all of my leaders to follow. With obviously, I'm going to caveat it with, if there's something egregious that happens, of course you're going to deal with it. But this is, like you said, the performance management, the hey, this person
Because
hasn't
it
been
doesn't
stepping
get
up.
better in the last quarter because
No.
there's too much other things going on. And we have an election right now.
Mhm.
You don't have time to watch or monitor somebody else's behavior when
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out what your menu is going to be or where you're going for Thanksgiving. It
Yeah.
just, there is already a distraction and you're trying to cram all these sales and have all these meetings and make sure you have all the weapons and drive all the, it just doesn't work for any organization in any industry, anywhere.
And the last kind of asterisk I'll put on that is also, it's a very bad PR move.
Oh,
It blows up
When you-
on
yeah.
any type of, I mean, we have seen it happen pretty much every single year
Oh.
where some companies like, oh, the day before Christmas, they
That's
gave
right.
us our pink slips, and it's like, what?
and it'll happen.
Yeah, we know it'll happen.
Now we're seeing it as return to work,
Oof.
self
Okay,
layoff.
yeah. Okay, why is everyone returning to office? What is the deal with that?
They're not really, it's because they don't want to have a public layoff and they want people to quit who are not happy about having to go back to work instead of laying off the people. They're telling them in advance so
Right.
that they can quit and look for another job before January 25th, that they're asking them to come back to the office. I'm telling you, people are using it so that they don't have to declare any of the other things where
Yeah.
that people can start looking for other jobs, and they will.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that's totally it. And I think the part that it just is so frustrating because it is all of these pundits, you know, Jamie Dimon, Elon Musk, a few others are like, oh, if they're in the office, they're so much more productive. And you're like, who is
Mm-mm.
more productive? I don't agree with that statement at all. And
You're just watching people work, then you can't
Right.
watch them at home.
no, right. But I like to do a load of laundry in between calls.
I don't. Like
Yeah.
me, I probably,
I kind of had to.
I don't think
because-
it'd be, well, you've been gone. Do you have any clothes left?
I do. I actually did a lot of laundry this weekend, so I do have clean clothing.
That's good.
I know. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
You
Let
can
me,
remember how to use it?
yeah, I did. And then I got attacked by dogs and cats who were like, let me put all of our fur all over all of your clothes.
Oh, yeah, they don't want you to have clean clothes.
No, they do not. Okay, so HR Tech,
Yes,
we're gonna do a live this week at some point.
that's right.
And then we'll also be having guests on, if we find cool tools that we love, we'll be having them on as guests in the next few weeks. So you guys will also, even if you're not here, you'll get to see some of the cool stuff we are seeing. And we'll try and post pictures on our different socials of how big, who's going to have the biggest booth. Workday, UKG, who's going to have the biggest one?
Workday.
Workday. Yeah.
I think Workday.
I haven't been down there yet. Have you been down there yet?
I have, but they were just putting things together. I know
Okay.
Busier is huge.
Oh, yeah. Busier usually has it.
I mean, as soon as we got off, it was like, welcome to Vegas.
Yeah.
As soon as we got off the plane,
Yeah.
Busier had stuff going on the whole time
That's
on the taxis, in the taxi waiting line. It's been everywhere.
That's awesome.
We're
Okay.
doing a live.
We're doing a live, and we'll keep you all posted. We might have some friends join us. John Baldino is here, who usually is with Jackie on Thursdays for But First Coffee.
Yep.
So we might have him on as a special guest. We'll make him sit right here. And we'll have him on and he can chat about what's what. But thank you all for listening and coming to visit.
Bye.